When we think about the collapse of a city's infrastructure, most of us imagine crumbling buildings, blocked streets, or, the sudden scarcity of food and water. But one of the most immediate and dangerous threats during these breakdowns was, human waste. Without proper sanitation, disease spreads faster than fire, and cities have had to get creative, sometimes gruesomely innovative, to survive. Today, we're going to explore how urban centres throughout history managed human waste when sewers failed, pipes broke, or official systems simply didn't exist. By understanding these methods, not only do we gain insight into historical ingenuity, but we also uncover strategies that modern survivalists can apply in extreme situations. Cities have always relied on some form of waste management, but what happens when it collapses? Take medieval London, for example. Streets were often narrow, crowded, and lined with open gutters. Wealthy households might have had privies or cesspits, but when these filled, the waste was either dumped into the street or into the River Thames, which also supplied drinking water. Outbreaks of disease were common, yet the city adapted with informal systems. Night soil collectors, sometimes called gong farmers, were employed to remove waste from cesspits under the cover of darkness. This was laborious, dangerous work, but it prevented pits from overflowing and spreading contamination further. For a modern survivalist, understanding the concept of scheduled waste removal and containment can translate into small-scale but effective sanitation management during infrastructure failures. Digging temporary pits in a controlled area and rotating their use. For instance, mirrors the old cesspit rotation practices. In ancient Rome, the failure of urban waste infrastructure could still be catastrophic. The Romans were ahead of their time with their aqueducts and public latrines, yet during sieges or when aqueducts were damaged, the population often had to improvise. Waste was collected in large portable containers and carted outside city walls. Sometimes waste was composted or used as fertilizer, a practice surprisingly advanced for the era. This teaches us that even in dire conditions, human waste can be managed not just as a hazard, but as a resource. For survival applications, learning how to safely compost waste while minimizing pathogen risks can provide both sanitation and soil enrichment, crucial in prolonged crises or off-grid living. When we look to more modern urban centres during wartime or disaster scenarios, improvisation becomes even more evident. During the bombing of London in World War II, some sewer lines were destroyed, and residents had to rely on bucket latrines within their homes or backyard pits. Authorities issued instructions on how to treat waste with lime to reduce odours and disease. The principle was simple: isolation, containment and treatment. Today, in any scenario where water is scarce or sewage systems fail, the same principles apply. Even without sophisticated tools, creating sealed containers, adding absorbent materials like ash or lime, and establishing a routine collection system can prevent the rapid spread of infection. In ancient Japanese towns, the challenge was different, but equally instructive. Many homes were built over small streams or canals, with waste initially flowing directly into water channels. When these systems became clogged or polluted, townsfolk turned to layered filtration, settling tanks, sand layers, and manual removal of solids. The Japanese also recognized the value of night soil as fertilizer and developed organized collection routes. For someone today interested in pre-industrial urban survival strategies, This really demonstrates the importance of both filtration and resourcefulness, managing waste effectively while repurposing it when safe to do so. Even in the rapidly industrializing cities of the 19th century, where sewage systems were starting to be implemented, failures were, unfortunately, quite common. Cholera epidemics often trace back to overwhelmed or broken pipes. Citizens resorted to privies, outhouses, and temporary pits. Some innovative communities established communal latrines with rotation schedules and even rudimentary treatment using ash, lime, or sawdust. These historical practices highlight two critical lessons. First, centralized systems are not infallible. And second, disciplined community-level management can prevent disaster. In modern terms, when survival depends on collective effort, establishing clear routines and designated waste zones can, quite honestly, save lives. Applying these lessons today doesn't require a city-wide effort. Anyone preparing for extended emergencies or off-grid living can take cues from history-designate safe areas for temporary latrines, rotate use to prevent contamination, treat waste with natural neutralizers, and, if feasible, repurpose organic waste through controlled composting. For communities, sharing responsibilities, setting up collection schedules, and enforcing hygiene measures mirrors the historical gong farmers, medieval lime treatment, or Japanese settlement tanks. These aren't just academic curiosities, they are practical, actionable survival strategies. Understanding how cities manage human waste when infrastructure failed gives us more than just historical insight. It reminds us that human ingenuity has always risen to confront one of the most persistent threats to public health. By studying past methods, we gain practical skills that can be applied in survival scenarios, off-grid living, or disaster preparedness. If you found this exploration valuable, make sure to subscribe to Iron Age Instincts and share this video with fellow history enthusiasts. Dive into the past, learn from it, and equip yourself with knowledge that's as practical as it is fascinating.